Guys, Anthony here with Empire Music, empiremusic.com. What a fun one today. Really, I always love playing an instrument like this because it's such a throwback thing to, really like the original P bass, which essentially this is 2 years later. 1953, or I think they just call it a 53 precision bass, Fender custom shop. Two-tone sunburst, very cool. You can't see it because it's under this cover, but instead of having the, and this isn't anything new to people, but instead of having the split coil, this has the earliest incarnation of their precision bass pickup, which is just the straight single coil. So it kind of looks like a jazz bass pickup under the hood here, kind of, but not quite the same. So low output on there, really warm. You're never going to get a whole lot of bite out of it. But it does come with like a fair amount of headroom because it has its lower output on that. So you can still do a lot with this pickup. Now this is strung with flats on it, so that kind of hinders a little bit of the top end articulation, but it's kind of nice on a bass like this. It has the early 50s U neck on it. So this is, really the definition of when people say, is that one of those old baseball bat necks? Is that the heavy thing? Yes, this is. This is a chunky neck on here. Not for the faint of heart, but really a lot of fun to play once you get just a little bit comfortable with it. Especially if you're really used to like a modern D-shaped neck or like an American Ultra style neck or a modern C. It's a pretty big leap from that, but I think you'd find a lot of joy in kind of playing that because it makes you play less, just as for bass players, usually a good thing. Really probably for anybody a good thing. But if you play like a 60s oval C or a 70s U-shaped neck or anything like that, even on a jazz bass, it's not that daunting once you get your hand around it. When you move up here, it starts to feel a little bit thicker, but hey, we're bass players. We really have no business being up around the 12th fret, right? Especially with a bass like this, just doesn't call for that. But 1.7 at the nut, so it's 0.05 slimmer than what you typically see in the vintage P bass. So 1.7, reverse gear tuners. Flash coat lacquer on the whole thing. This is in Journeyman Relic, so you catch a little bit of the relicing on the back of the neck. You don't see too much of it on the body here, just a few bumps and bruises. The one-ply white guard is such a cool touch on there too. Such a stark contrast when you get that versus like the deeper, the black exterior here, on the sunburst. Very, very nice. And the saddles, it has those fiber saddles on. I know you can't see it, but I can see it down in there. So that kind of adds to the thuddiness of it. That adds to sort of the warmth, the mystique around the bass like this. Tons of mojo, tons of vibe with it. And again, I just like playing it because it's the original thing, especially with the flats on it. It just lends itself to simplified playing. I don't know if that's just a byproduct of knowing the history of it or if it's just a byproduct. It is definitely, to me, a byproduct of the physical restraints that thicker neck and the slab body. It's not the most comfortable instrument, but that's really not what you're buying it for. You're buying it for that tone and that really authentic kind of P-bass character that it provides in spades, which is very, very cool. And also like the wooden fiber or whatever that is tug bar on that. It's a nice touch on that rather than just having the black plastic one on there. Very, very cool. So they nailed it top to bottom. And again, it comes with flat, so you can't ask for anything more. No need to change those out. Sonically, doesn't give you a ton of variation. But if you move your hand around, you'd be surprised at what you're getting. The one thing you won't get is the jazz bass thing, the slap thing, the real modern scooped out thing. It has that really low, forward, in-your-face, fundamental, lowest of the lows, lower mid-range. You don't get a ton of that upper mid-range and a ton of that, obviously, treble character on it. Slab body on it, so no contours. This was a 53, so this is a 53, which was the year before they started adding those Strat style body contours to it, while they still kept the kind of the looks to it in that single coil pickup until I think 57, if I remember correctly. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. But this still has the single coil pickup. So this was the last year with that block slab body, telly style body, till they went into the contoured one. So you got a little extra comfort on that one. when we move to the 54. So, all right, full volume, full tone. We're gonna just move our hand around. That's all we can do with a bass like this. Yeah, between like the overall, the physicality that this demands and the flat wound strings, it just screams for simple playing. And I like that about it. So let's roll some tone off on that. We're gonna get into like maximum tubby territory. And roll the tone back up. What you do notice, if you feel like this is kind of lacking that, I would never say it's the true upper mid-range, but if you're lacking a little bit of mid-range character, obviously this has flats on it, so rounds would help that out a little bit. But that pickup, the underwinding on the pickup, I think just, you know, screams that. But check it out, like what we get with our hand back there. It never all of a sudden just like pops out with the mid-range, but you can add a little bit of it. And if we take those guards off, you're gonna get a little bit more of that, obviously right over the pickup, although you gotta be careful with these single coils. It can be a little bit noisy. You've even heard when, like, you know, I do a lot of the percussive stuff, for better or for worse, when I don't have a backing track here. But anytime you touch that with the string, it gets a little woofy and a little funky on it. But again, these basses are really, the character's all in the imperfections with it, which is what's really cool about it. So again, sorry, long-winded, as always. Full volume, obviously, and we'll roll the tone back substantially, I think. Yeah, we'll go about 70. Move the hand up a little bit because that might sound cool. That's a really cool tone with that. I mean, up here is cool. Just in the quick reference, almost like the jaw wobble kind of thing going on, where it's like super muffled, super big sounding. But a really interesting tone is moving your hand back. And obviously, if these guards weren't on here, you did some palm muting, it's gonna sound really cool, or like palm muting with a pick. But just like, this is an interesting sound. That's very cool. It's something a little different there. We're typically back with a traditional P bass. I might not play back there as much, but something about that, like tons of low end with it, bringing out that little bit of articulation on the back here is really, really cool. So this is a 53 precision bass from the Fender Custom Shop. This one's in two-tone sunburst, the single ply white guard, big chunky U neck on this thing. And again, the beauty of this and the sound is kind of in the imperfections of it. So if you dig it or dig anything else on the website, there's a link below to our current inventory. It's 412-343-5299. You can email me directly. It's anthony@empiremusic.com. Pro setup on all the guitars, free shipping. We have financing options. We have trade-in options. Just reach out. We'll take care of you. See you next time. Thank you very much.